Hey everyone, welcome back. You ever get that feeling like looking at a resume and it's just a wall of dates and job titles?
Yeah, totally. It's like trying to guess the plot of a movie just from the chapter titles, right?
Exactly. So today we're cracking the code, doing a deep dive on a CV that's anything BUT ordinary. We're talking about Wei Cheng Shi, and let me tell you, this resume has some stories to tell.
I love a good career journey. What do we got?
Okay, so picture this. 2003, fresh out of Suping University of Science and Technology in Taiwan. Bachelor's degree in information management? Check. And get this, she lands early roles at both IBM and Systex.
Wow, right out the gate. Those are some serious players in the tech world, even back then.
No kidding. What kind of, I don't know, foundation do you think that lays for someone in IT starting out at those companies?
Oh, you're talking about systems built to handle anything, right? Even if these were short stints, we're betting she got thrown into the deep end of system administration, maybe even some early software development. Who knows?
It's like a master class in IT, just from those experiences.
Yeah,
Makes you wonder what the tech landscape even looked like back then.
right. Like, what were the hot new programming languages in the early 2000s? What kind of challenges were people trying to solve? Fascinating.
Totally. Okay, so fast forward a bit, and things get really interesting. She describes themselves as a cloud and streaming computing system architect, specializing in high-volume traffic and real-time analytics.
Okay, now that sounds impressive. Even I'm a little intimidated.
Right, so in plain English, break it down. What does
Right.
that even mean?
All right, so imagine this. Think of the most massive, chaotic traffic jam you've ever seen, except instead of cars, it's data. Tons of it flowing through a system at lightning speed.
And she is directing traffic, making sure it all runs smoothly.
Exactly. They're designing the systems that handle those massive data flows. Think like live video streams, online gaming, financial transactions, anything where tons of information needs to move fast.
High-pressure stuff. And we're not just talking about one type of system here. She's CV lists a whole arsenal of skills. Java, Golang, Node.js, DevOps tools, it goes on, plus proficiency in a whole bunch of databases.
That's what I like to see, a versatile skill set.
So what's that tell us, someone with that kind of range?
It tells me they know how to pick the right tool for the job, which is huge GE in the tech world. You don't see a lot of one-trick ponies succeeding in this field. Things change too fast.
Adaptability, got to have it. Yeah, if someone who can pivot, try new things, learn on the fly, that's crucial. Okay, but let's get down to brass tacks here. She spent a good chunk of time at IBM, from 2018 to the present, working as an application consultant, and their big project, the Taiwan High-Speed Rail.
No way, that's not just any application, that's a whole country relying on that system.
Tell me about it. Specifically, they worked on several phases of the Automatic Operations Restructuring System, AORS. We're talking mission-critical infrastructure here.
So, like, the digital nervous system of the whole high-speed rail operation. Intense.
And it gets even more specific. She's CV mentions researching and implementing a BSM dynamic API resolution solution. And, I'm all for tech jargon, but
Let's be real, that's a mouthful for most people.
exactly. Could you translate that for us? What in the world is a BSM dynamic API resolution? And why should we care that she tackled it?
Okay, so API stands for Application Programming Interface. Think of it like the go-between for different software systems. Like, you go to a website and buy something, the API is what lets your bank talk to the store's system behind the scenes.
Okay, so far so good.
Now, dynamic API resolution is like, imagine that go-between has to handle a million requests at once, and the instructions keep changing on the fly. It's about making those connections super smooth and efficient, even in a chaotic environment.
And the BSM part.
Right. BSM is business service management, so this is all about making sure those crucial operations for the high-speed rail are running reliably. So we're not talking about, like, fixing a slow internet connection. This is core system stuff.
Wow, that's high stakes. Okay, buckle up because it gets even more dramatic. The CV mentions she rescued and reconstructed the high-speed rail production environment. That sounds intense.
It's like something straight out of a movie. We're losing it. We need she.
Exactly. What kind of situation are we talking about here when you see that on a resume?
It screams major system failure. Could be a software crash, a hardware malfunction, maybe even something like a cyber attack. Whatever happened, it sounds like she was brought in as the emergency responder, the one who had to figure out the mess and rebuild it under pressure.
Talk about a testament to your skills, right? Not just knowing the tech, but being able to handle a crisis.
Absolutely. That's the kind of person you want on your team when things go wrong.
And it wasn't all just like heads down coding either. She's CV mentions them navigating argumentation schemes with the high-speed rail department. What's that all about, you think?
Ah, the art of communication, even in tech. Remember, you're often dealing with people who don't live and breathe code. Being able to clearly explain complex ideas, advocate for your solutions, and work through disagreements, that's huge.
It's like being a tech diplomat, bridging the gap between the technical and the non-technical folks.
Exactly. And in a high-stakes environment like that, with so much riding on these decisions, those communication skills are pure gold.
So we've got She tackling this massive infrastructure project, showing off their expertise. But let's shift gears for a second. Their CV also highlights work on the SKH Hospital project as an architect leader. Talk about a change of pace, from high-speed trains to healthcare. What do you make of that transition?
Shows real versatility, right? You're going from one high-pressure environment to another, but the stakes are different. A hospital system glitch could literally be life or death.
And you've got different regulations, different user needs, a whole different ballgame.
Right. So she's not just a one-trick pony. They're able to jump into a new domain and apply their skills to a completely different set of challenges. That's valuable.
Definitely. And hold on, there's more. They were also the back-end leader for the Ecenian Bank mobile bank project. So we've got infrastructure, healthcare, and now finance talk about range.
Yeah.
How does this tell you about how she approaches their career?
This is someone who loves a challenge, clearly. They're not afraid to jump between industries, learn new things, push their boundaries. It's that growth mindset everyone's always talking about, but in action.
They're like the tech world's version of a Renaissance person.
And let's be real, these are all industries undergoing massive digital transformation. She's right there on the front lines of those changes, which is exciting.
Totally. Okay, get this. Just when I thought we'd uncovered it all, I stumbled on something amazing. She's a published author. And we're not talking blog posts here. A whole book on Docker. A whole book on Docker. Okay, gotta admit, that one's going over my head a little. For those of us who aren't, software engineers, what's the big deal with Docker? And what does it say about She that they didn't just use it, they wrote the manual on it?
So Docker, imagine you've got this big, complex software project with a ton of different parts that all need to work together perfectly. Docker's like those little bento boxes, keeping everything organized and self-contained so it can run smoothly on any system.
Okay, that makes sense. But still, writing a book, that's a whole other level.
It takes serious expertise, for sure. You're not just explaining how to use a tool, you're breaking down complex concepts in a way that's clear, engaging, and accessible to other developers. It's almost like teaching a masterclass in Docker.
And teaching seems to be a bit of a theme here. Also seeing that they've led workshops on agile development and Watson AI. It's like this whole other side to their career.
Absolutely. They're not just a brilliant engineer, they're also passionate about sharing their knowledge and empowering others. That says a lot about their leadership style, too.
Right. It's one thing to master a skill, but to be able to turn around and teach it to someone else, that's huge.
Exactly. And in a field like tech, where things change so rapidly, that commitment to mentorship and knowledge sharing is invaluable.
So wrapping it all up, we've got this incredibly talented engineer, comfortable across multiple industries, diving deep into complex projects, A&D sharing their knowledge with the world. This CV is seriously impressive.
What's amazing to me is how it really highlights the power of a growth mindset. She hasn't limited themselves to a single specialty or even a single industry. They're constantly learning, adapting, and seeking out new challenges.
And that's something we can all learn from, right?
Sure.
No matter what field we're in.
Absolutely. In today's job market, being adaptable and continuously learning new skills is more important than ever.
Couldn't agree more. Well, that's about it for our deep dive today. Big thanks to everyone for joining us.
It's been a pleasure exploring this fascinating career journey with you all.
Until next time, keep those resumes coming, and remember, every line tells the story.